The old alien soldier stood in the center of the great hall. His body shook as he looked up at the thousands of beings watching him. Creatures from every corner of the galaxy sat in the crystal seats. Some had wings, some had tentacles, others were just floating clouds of gas. But all of them were silent. All of them were waiting. The soldier's skin was gray like old metal. His eyes were large and black like two dark pools. Scars covered his arms and face. These were not battle scars. These were scars from fear. Deep, terrible fear that had lived inside him for 50 years. "You want to know," he said. His voice was soft, but it carried to every corner of the hall. "You want to know why we never attack the Sol system? You want to know why we never go near the blue planet they call Earth?" He paused. His hands trembled. "You want to know why grown warriors wake up screaming when they hear the word human?" A young creature in the front row leaned forward. It had green skin and 4 arms. "Tell us, Ancient One, the records are sealed. The old files are locked away. We only know that something happened. Something that changed everything." The old soldier laughed, but it was not a happy sound. It was the sound of broken glass, the sound of dying hope. "I was there," he whispered. "I was there when the galaxy learned what real monsters look like. And let me tell you something, young one. The monsters do not have claws. They do not have fangs. They do not breathe fire." His black eyes swept across the hall. "The monsters have 2 legs. They have soft skin. They have small teeth. And they call themselves human." The hall was so quiet that you could hear the sound of a single breath. The soldier walked to the center of the room. Above him, a huge display screen came to life. It showed a small blue planet spinning slowly in the darkness of space. "This is Earth," he said. "Home of the humans. 50 years ago, it was just another world, just another rock floating in space. We thought the creatures living there were weak. We thought they were stupid." He touched a control panel. The screen changed. Now it showed images of humans. Men, women, children. They were working in fields. They were building cities. They were laughing and playing. "Look at them," the soldier said. "So small, so fragile. Their bodies break easily. They cannot fly. They cannot breathe underwater for long. They cannot even see very well in the dark." A creature with purple skin and 6 legs spoke up. "Then how? How did they become what they are now?" The old soldier's expression changed. His face became hard like stone. "That is what we thought too. We thought they were nothing. Just another weak species, so we decided to test them. We thought it would be fun." The screen changed again. Now it showed massive spaceships. These ships were beautiful and gleaming. They had smooth curves and bright lights. They looked like art pieces floating in space. "These were our ships," the soldier said. "The pride of the Galactic Council. We had won 1,000 wars with these ships. We had conquered entire solar systems. No one could stand against us." He pressed another button. The screen showed the inside of one of the ships. Hundreds of alien beings worked at control stations. They were all different species, but they all had the same look on their faces. Confidence. Pride. They thought they were the masters of the galaxy. "We sent our fleet to Earth," the soldier continued. "Not to destroy it, just to teach them their place. We were going to land on their world, show them our power, make them bow down, make them understand that they were nothing compared to us." The young green creature asked, "What happened then?" The soldier was quiet for a long moment. He stared at the screen. His whole body seemed to shrink. They said no. "No? Just no. We told them to surrender. We told them they had no choice. We showed them our weapons, our great ships, our advanced technology. We told them we could destroy their entire planet with a single command." The soldier's voice dropped to a whisper. "And they said no. Not just their leaders, not just their armies, everyone, old people, young people, children, farmers, teachers, store owners. They all said the same thing. No." He touched the control panel again. The screen showed a human city. But this was not the peaceful scene from before. Now the humans were preparing for war. They were building weapons. They were training. But the strange thing was that they were not afraid. "We could not understand it," the soldier said. "We had conquered species 10 times stronger than humans. We had defeated creatures with natural armor, with poison, with the power to read minds. All of them had surrendered when they saw our fleet." He paused and looked around the hall. But these soft, weak humans looked at our ships and they started to laugh. A gasp went through the crowd. "They laughed?" asked a floating gas creature. They laughed, the soldier confirmed. And then they started to build. Not just weapons. Something else. Something we had never seen before. The screen showed humans working together. Millions of them. They were not just building machines. They were building hope. They were building determination. They were building something that could not be measured or weighed. They were building will, the soldier said. Pure, unbreakable will. The kind of will that says I would rather die than kneel. The kind of will that turns ordinary beings into forces of nature. He turned to face the crowd directly. We thought we were the strong ones. We had the big ships. We had the advanced weapons. We had conquered the galaxy. But we learned something that day, something that still gives me nightmares. His voice became hard as steel. Strength is not about having the biggest gun. Strength is not about having the fastest ship. Real strength comes from something much deeper. It comes from deciding that some things are worth dying for. And these humans, these supposedly weak humans, they had decided that their freedom was worth dying for. The soldier gestured to the screen one more time. Now it showed Earth again. But this Earth looked different. It looked like a planet ready for war. That was when we realized our mistake, he said. We thought we were dealing with prey, but we had awakened predators, the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. His black eyes swept across the hall one final time. We thought humans were weak because they were gentle. We learned too late that there is a difference between choosing peace and being unable to make war. The old soldier's voice dropped to barely a whisper, but somehow every being in the Great Hall could hear his final words. The galaxy was about to discover what humans become when you threaten everything they love. The old soldier touched the control panel again. The great screen in the hall changed. Now it showed a scene from 3 years before the war, a small human ship floating in space near a massive alien space station. This is where it all began, the soldier said. The humans had just discovered faster-than-light travel. They were so excited, so hopeful. They thought they would make friends with us. The screen showed the inside of the human ship. 5 humans stood on the bridge looking out at the alien station. Their faces were full of wonder and hope. The tall one with the gray hair is Jinha, the soldier explained. He was their military commander. A good man, fair, strong, but he had never seen real war, not like what was coming. Jinha stood with his hands behind his back. He wore a simple blue uniform. His face was weathered from years of service, but his eyes were kind. He looked at the alien station like a child seeing snow for the first time. Beautiful, Jinha said to the woman standing next to him. Look at it, Harin. It's like a floating city. The woman called Harin nodded. She was shorter than Jinha, with black hair pulled back tight. Her eyes were sharp and intelligent. She was studying the station, not just looking at it. The engineering is incredible, Harin said. How do they keep something that big stable? The power requirements alone must be always thinking like a scientist, laughed the man at the control station. His name was Quan. He was younger than the others, but his eyes were old. There were scars on his face from some long-ago battle. Can't you just enjoy the moment? Quan's hands moved over the controls with expert skill. He had fought in Earth's last great war, the Lunar Wars. But that was just humans fighting humans, nothing like what was waiting for them. At the communication station, a man named Jake Morrison was trying to contact the aliens. He had brown hair and gentle eyes. He spoke 12 languages and had spent his whole life dreaming of meeting other intelligent life. This is the Earthship Harmony, Jake said into his microphone. We come in peace. We wish to speak with your leaders. The 5th human was a woman named Lisa Park. She stood at the science station recording everything. She had long black hair and wore thick glasses. She was the smartest person on the ship, maybe the smartest person on Earth. But all her intelligence could not prepare her for what the galaxy was really like. Are you getting all this, Lisa? Jinha asked. Every detail, Lisa replied. This is the most important moment in human history. First contact with alien life. The humans waited and waited. Finally, a voice came through their speakers. It was cold and harsh. Small ship. You will dock at port 7. You will wait there. Do not move. Do not touch anything. Guards will come for you. The humans looked at each other. This was not the warm welcome they had expected. Maybe they're just being careful, Harin said. If strange aliens showed up at Earth, we'd be careful too. Jinha nodded. We'll follow their rules. We're guests here. The screen changed to show the inside of the alien station. It was huge. The ceiling was so high you could not see it. Thousands of different alien creatures moved through the corridors. Some walked, some flew, some slithered. But they all had one thing in common. When they saw the humans, they stopped and stared. The humans were led through the station by tall, thin guards with gray skin. The guards said nothing. They just pointed where the humans should go. So many different species, Lisa whispered, looking around in amazement. This is incredible. But the aliens were not looking at the humans with wonder. They were looking at them the way you might look at insects, with curiosity but also with a kind of disgust. Finally, the humans were brought to a great chamber. It was filled with hundreds of alien beings sitting in rows of seats that rose up toward the ceiling. At the center was a platform where the most important aliens sat. These were the leaders of the Galactic Council. The soldier's voice became bitter as he described them. There was Supreme Commander Vrex with his 4 arms and his golden armor. High Priestess Nalthara, whose people had ruled space for 10,000 years. General Korthak, whose species had never lost a war. They thought they were gods. The humans walked to the center of the chamber. They looked small and fragile, surrounded by all these alien beings. Jinha stepped forward. He bowed respectfully. "Honored leaders of the galaxy," he said, "we are humans from the planet Earth. We have come to ask if we can join your great alliance. We wish to learn from you. We wish to trade with you. We wish to be your friends." The chamber fell silent. Then slowly sounds began to fill the air. But they were not sounds of welcome. They were sounds of laughter. The aliens were laughing at the humans. Supreme Commander Vrex leaned forward on his throne. His forearms spread wide in amusement. "You?" he said, his voice booming through the chamber. "You wish to join us? Look at yourselves. You are tiny. You are weak. You have no natural weapons, no armor, no special powers." High Priestess Nalthara's voice was like silk, but her words cut like knives. "Your species is barely out of its infancy," she said. "You have only just learned to travel between stars. My people were building galactic empires when your world was still covered in ice." General Korthak stood up. He was massive, with thick armor covering his body and claws like swords. "What could you possibly offer us?" he growled. "What could weak, soft creatures like you possibly give to the rulers of the galaxy?" The humans stood in the center of the chamber as the laughter grew louder. Hundreds of alien voices joined in. The sound echoed off the walls like thunder. Jinha's face remained calm, but his hands clenched into fists. Harin's scientific mind was racing, calculating the power levels of the alien weapons she could see. Quan's old soldier instincts were screaming warnings, telling him this was a trap. Jake Morrison's gentle heart was breaking as he realized these aliens were nothing like the wise, peaceful beings he had imagined. Lisa Park was recording everything, her brilliant mind already starting to plan for what might come next. "We ask for nothing but a chance," Jinha said, his voice steady despite the mockery surrounding him. "A chance to prove that we are worthy of your friendship." The laughter stopped suddenly. Supreme Commander Vrex leaned forward, his eyes cold as space. "Prove yourselves?" he said. "Very well. Go back to your little world. Build armies if you can. Prepare defenses if you wish. In 1 year we will come to your Earth. If you can survive our visit, perhaps we will consider you worthy of joining the galaxy." His forearms gestured dismissively. "But I doubt it. Weak things like you usually break easily." The humans were escorted back to their ship in silence. As they prepared to leave the station, Jinha looked back at the massive structure. "They could have chosen peace," he said quietly. "They could have chosen friendship." Quan checked their ship's weapon systems. They had none worth mentioning. "What are we going to do?" he asked. Harin was already working on her computer, running calculations. "We're going to survive," she said. "And then we're going to show them what humans really are." Jake Morrison recorded one final message as they flew away from the station. "If anyone ever listens to this," he said, "remember this day. Remember that we tried. We offered them our hand in friendship. What happens next is their choice, not ours." Lisa Park looked at her recordings of the alien technology. Her mind was already seeing patterns, weaknesses, possibilities. "They think we're weak because we choose to be gentle," she said. "They're about to learn the difference." As their small ship flew back toward Earth, the humans carried with them something the aliens had given them without meaning to. Not friendship, not welcome, not hope. They carried anger. And in 1 year, The galaxy would learn what happened when you made humans angry. The old soldier's voice grew darker as he continued his story. The screen in the Great Hall showed a view of space 1 year later. But this space looked different now. It was full of ships, human ships. When the humans went back to Earth, the soldier said, "We thought they would spend the year crying. We thought they would beg us for mercy. We thought they would surrender before we even arrived." He paused and looked around the hall. "We were wrong about everything." The screen changed to show Earth's moon, but the moon looked strange now. It was covered with metal structures and bright lights. Huge factories worked day and night. Ships were being built faster than anyone thought possible. They turned their entire world into a weapons factory, the soldier explained. Every human worked on the same goal. Men, women, children, old people, everyone. They did not sleep. They barely ate. They just worked. The image showed humans working in the factories. Their faces were hard and determined. These were not the same hopeful people who had visited the alien station a year ago. But the strangest thing was not what they built. The soldier continued. It was how they acted. They were not afraid. They were not angry. They were focused, like wolves preparing to hunt. A new voice spoke from the screen. It belonged to a man with gray hair and cold blue eyes. He wore a black uniform covered with medals. "This is Commander Rex," the soldier explained. The humans put him in charge of their war effort. He was their best military mind, their most dangerous soldier. Commander Rex stood on the bridge of a massive human warship. The ship was black as space itself. It had sharp angles and no extra decorations. It looked like it was built for only one purpose: killing. "All ships report ready, Commander," said the woman standing next to him. This was Sarah Chen. She was young, maybe 30 years old, but her eyes were ancient. She had spent the entire year planning this moment. Every detail of the coming battle was mapped out in her brilliant mind. "How many ships do we have?" Rex asked. 500 main battle cruisers," Sarah replied. 2,000 destroyers. 10,000 fighter craft. And the special projects, Rex nodded. The special projects were humanity's secret weapons. Things the aliens had never seen before. Things that would change war forever. The screen shifted to show the alien fleet approaching Earth. It was magnificent and terrible. Thousands of beautiful ships that looked like floating palaces. Each one was larger than a human city. "We were so confident," the old soldier said, his voice full of shame. "Look at our ships. So big, so beautiful. We thought size meant power. We thought beauty meant strength." The alien fleet moved through space like a golden river. At its head was the flagship of Supreme Commander Rex. It was the largest ship ever built, covered in golden armor and bright weapons. "Small humans." Rex's voice boomed across space. "You have had 1 year to prepare. Have you built ships to fight us? Have you trained armies to resist us? It does not matter. Surrender now, and we will make your deaths quick." From the bridge of his black warship, Commander Rex smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Open a channel," he told Sarah Chen. The communication screen lit up, showing Rex's face to the alien fleet. "Commander Rex," Rex said, his voice calm as winter. "You asked us to prove ourselves worthy of joining the galaxy. Thank you for giving us this opportunity." Rex laughed from his golden ship. "Opportunity? You misunderstand, small human. This is not an opportunity. This is an execution." Rex's smile grew wider. "You're right," he said. "This is an execution, but not ours." That was when the human fleet appeared. The old soldier's voice dropped to a whisper as he described what happened next. They came out of nowhere. One moment space was empty. The next moment it was full of human ships, black ships that seemed to eat light itself, ships that moved like they were alive. The aliens had expected to see human ships like their own, big, slow, heavy things that relied on thick armor and massive guns. Instead, they saw something completely different. The human ships were fast, faster than anything should be able to move. They danced through space like deadly birds. And their weapons, they did not use energy beams like we did, the soldier explained. They used things we had never seen before. Weapons that bent space itself. Missiles that could think. Shields that turned our own weapons against us. Heron's voice came through the communication system. She was on one of the human science ships coordinating the attack. "All ships, this is Science Command. Target their command vessels first. Let them watch their leaders fall." Jake Morrison was on another ship, but he was not trying to make peace anymore. His gentle heart had turned to steel during the long year of preparation. "Communications to all alien ships," he said. his voice cold as space.
You had your chance for friendship.
You chose war instead. Now live with your choice. Lisa Park was coordinating the human fighter squadrons. Her brilliant mind had calculated exactly how to tear apart the alien formations. Fighter wings Alpha through Gamma, hit their flanks, make them turn toward our main guns. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humans. The battle began, but it was not really a battle. It was a lesson. A demonstration. The humans did not just fight the alien fleet. They destroyed it with surgical precision. Jinha led a group of boarding ships that attacked the alien flagship directly. His weathered face showed no mercy as his soldiers cut through alien defenses like they were made of paper. Quan commanded a squadron of the new human fighters. His experience from the old wars served him well, but these aliens had no idea how to fight against human tactics. They're breaking formation, Quan reported. The big ships can't keep up with our speed. They're sitting targets now. On the bridge of his flagship, Supreme Commander Vrex watched in horror as his beautiful fleet was torn apart. Ship after ship exploded or simply disappeared. His forearms shook as he realized the truth. Impossible, he whispered. They were weak. They were nothing. How are they doing this? Commander Rex's voice came through the communication system, answering his question. You made one mistake, Vrex. You confused gentleness with weakness. You thought because we offered friendship we could not make war. Another alien ship exploded on the screen. We tried to join your galaxy in peace. Rex continued. You decided to teach us about war instead. So we learned, and now class is in session. Sarah Chen coordinated the final phase of the attack. The remaining alien ships were surrounded, helpless. All alien vessels, this is your only warning, she broadcast. Surrender now or be destroyed. You have 10 seconds to decide. Some of the alien ships tried to run. The human ships caught them easily. Others tried to fight. Their weapons barely scratched the human shields. Most of them just stopped moving. Their crews were too shocked to do anything. In less than 2 hours, the mighty alien fleet was gone. Some ships escaped to tell the story. Most did not. Supreme Commander Vrex found himself alone on his damaged flagship, surrounded by human ships. Rex's face appeared on his screen again. You wanted to test us, Rex said. Congratulations, we passed. Now it's our turn to test the galaxy. The old soldier's voice was barely a whisper as he finished describing the battle. That was the day we learned the truth about humans. They had offered us their friendship. When we rejected it, they offered us something else instead. He looked around the hall at all the alien faces watching him. They offered us fear, and we accepted. The old soldier's hands shook as he touched the control panel. The screen in the Great Hall showed a map of the galaxy. Red marks appeared on hundreds of star systems. After the first battle, the soldier said, we thought the humans would stop. We thought they had proven their point. We thought they would go back to their world and leave us alone. He paused, his black eyes reflecting old pain. We were wrong again. The humans had learned something from us. They had learned that the galaxy only understood one language. The language of fear. The screen changed to show a meeting of alien leaders. They sat around a huge table made of crystal. Their faces showed panic and confusion. The Galactic Council called an emergency meeting. The soldier explained. Every species in the galaxy sent representatives. We needed to decide what to do about the human problem. Supreme Commander Vrex sat at the head of the table. His golden armor was cracked and burned from the battle. 3 of his forearms were in bandages. The humans destroyed half my fleet in 2 hours, he said, his voice hollow. Ships that had never been defeated. Weapons that had conquered 1,000 worlds. Gone. All gone. High Priestess Nalthara spoke next. Her voice was no longer smooth like silk. Now it cracked with fear. They are spreading across the galaxy like a plague, she said. Every day more human ships appear in our space. They do not ask permission. They just come. General Korthak slammed his clawed fist on the table. Then we fight them, he roared. We gather every ship in the galaxy. We attack their homeworld. We end this before it gets worse. The other aliens looked at him like he was crazy. With what ships? Asked Admiral Zex, whose people controlled 50 star systems. The humans destroyed my entire battle group last week. I barely escaped with my life. The screen showed what had happened to Admiral Zex's fleet. Hundreds of alien warships had surrounded a single human cruiser. They thought they had an easy victory. Instead, they watched their ships disappear one by one as the human vessel danced between their attacks like it was playing a game. The human ship was commanded by someone called Jinha, the soldier said. He spoke to our admiral before the battle began. The screen showed Jinha's face. He looked older than before. His eyes were hard as steel. Admiral Zex, Jinha had said, his voice calm and cold. You have entered human space without permission. You have threatened our colonies. You have one chance to leave peacefully. Admiral Zex had laughed at him. One human ship against my entire fleet? You are either very brave or very stupid. Jinha's expression had not changed. I am neither brave nor stupid, Admiral. I am something much more dangerous. I am a human who remembers being insulted. The battle that followed was not really a battle. It was an execution. Jinha's ship moved like it was alive, dodging every shot while its weapons tore through alien armor like paper. When it was over, only Admiral Zex's command ship remained. Remember this moment, Jinha had told the terrified admiral. Remember it and tell your leaders. The galaxy had its chance for peace. Now you get war. The old soldier continued his story. The screen showed human ships appearing all over the galaxy. They came in small groups, but each group was like a force of nature. Haran led the science ships, he explained. She did not just study our technology. She improved it, made it better, made it deadlier. The screen showed Haran standing in a laboratory on one of the captured alien worlds. Around her, human scientists worked with alien technology, but they were not just copying it. They were making it into something new, something terrible. Your weapons are interesting, Haran said to a group of captured alien engineers, but they are designed by people who think war is about showing off. We design our weapons to win. She held up a small device that glowed with soft blue light. This is based on your plasma cannon technology, she explained, but we made some improvements. Your version takes 10 seconds to charge and can destroy a building. Our version charges in half a second and can destroy a city. The alien engineers looked at the device with horror. That is impossible, one of them whispered. The power requirements alone would... Haran smiled. It was not a kind smile. You keep saying things are impossible. We keep proving you wrong. Maybe you should stop telling us what we cannot do. Meanwhile, Quan was leading ground attacks on alien worlds. His soldiers moved like ghosts through alien cities, striking without warning and disappearing before reinforcements could arrive. The aliens had never seen warfare like this, the soldier said. They were used to big armies meeting in open fields. They were not prepared for humans who could appear anywhere, anytime. The screen showed Quan and his soldiers moving through the crystal streets of an alien city. They wore black armor that seemed to bend light around them. The aliens could not see them until it was too late. Target the command centers first, Quan whispered to his team. Cut off their communications. Make them blind and deaf. Then we own them. His soldiers moved with perfect coordination. They had trained for this moment for months. Every step was planned. Every shot was precise. Within hours, the alien capital was under human control. The alien leaders found themselves prisoners in their own palace. How? Asked the alien governor, a creature with 6 legs and purple skin. How did you do this? We had thousands of guards, walls of solid metal, defense systems that could stop an army. Quan removed his helmet, showing his scarred face. Your defenses were designed to stop alien armies, he said. We are not aliens. We are humans, and humans fight differently. Jake Morrison was busy with a different kind of warfare. He had given up trying to make peace. Now he used his skills with languages to break the aliens' spirits. Jake had learned to speak every alien language in the galaxy, the soldier explained. He used this knowledge to spread fear. The screen showed Jake's face appearing on communication systems across hundreds of worlds. He spoke to each species in their own language, but his message was always the same. People of the galaxy, he would say, his voice carrying to every home, every office, every ship. Your leaders chose this war. They rejected our friendship. They decided to test our strength. Now they know the results of that test. He would pause, letting his words sink in. But this war does not have to continue forever. Your leaders started it, but you can end it. Surrender to the humans, join us. We will treat you fairly. We will protect you. We will give you what your leaders never could. His voice would become softer, almost gentle. We will give you peace. Many alien worlds surrendered without firing a shot after hearing Jake's broadcasts. Lisa Park coordinated the overall human strategy. Her brilliant mind saw patterns that others missed. She could predict what the aliens would do before they knew it themselves. The aliens keep making the same mistakes, she reported to Commander Rex. They think war is about having the biggest army. They do not understand that war is about information, about speed, about being where your enemy does not expect you. Rex nodded. He stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching as another alien fleet prepared to attack a human colony. Show them what happens when they threaten our people, he said. Sarah Chen smiled from her position at the tactical station. With pleasure, Commander. All ships execute Plan Omega. The human fleet moved like a school of deadly fish. They did not try to meet the alien attack head-on. Instead, they flowed around it, striking at weak points, disappearing before the aliens could respond. The aliens had more ships than us, the old soldier said. They had bigger guns, thicker armor, but they fought like they were still in the old galaxy, the galaxy before humans. Within 6 months, human forces had captured or destroyed military targets in over 200 star systems. Alien governments fell like dominoes. Species that had ruled space for thousands of years suddenly found themselves bowing to creatures they had called weak and primitive. But the worst part was not losing, the soldier continued. The worst part was understanding why we lost. The screen showed the final meeting of the Galactic Council. Only a few members remained. Most had either surrendered to the humans or been replaced by human-friendly governments. The humans did not win because they were stronger, the soldier explained. They won because they were smarter. They won because they worked together. They won because they never gave up. He looked around the hall at all the watching faces, but most of all they won because we taught them how much they hated us, and humans, we learned, are very good at hating. The screen went dark for a moment. Then it showed Earth again. But this Earth looked different now. It was the center of a growing human empire that stretched across the galaxy. In 1 year, the soldier whispered, the humans went from begging to join our galaxy to owning most of it. His voice became even quieter, and we had no one to blame but ourselves. The old soldier stood in silence for a long moment. The great hall was so quiet that you could hear the sound of breathing from 1,000 different species. The screen above showed Earth as it looked now, 50 years after the war. It was beautiful and peaceful, surrounded by stars that had once belonged to alien empires. That was 50 years ago, the soldier said finally. The war lasted 3 years. The humans won in every battle, every planet, every system. When it was over, half the galaxy was under human control. A young creature with blue skin and silver eyes raised one of its 4 hands. What happened to the Galactic Council? It asked. What happened to all the great leaders? The soldier's laugh was like the sound of breaking glass. Supreme Commander Vrex died fighting to the last breath on his home world. High Priestess Nalthara surrendered and spent the rest of her life teaching human children about alien cultures. General Korthak became a farmer on a human colony world. He said he was tired of war. The screen changed to show the final battle of the war. Human ships surrounded a massive space station. It was the last stronghold of the old Galactic Council. This was where it ended, the soldier explained. The humans could have destroyed the station easily. Instead, they sent a message. Commander Rex's face appeared on the screen. He looked older than before. His gray hair was now white. His eyes were tired but still hard as steel. Leaders of the old galaxy, Rex said, his voice echoing through the doomed station. This is your final chance. Surrender now and your people will be treated with mercy. Refuse and we will do what we must. The alien leaders had huddled together in their crystal chamber. They knew they had lost. They knew it was over. But their pride was all they had left. We will never surrender to creatures like you, Supreme Commander Vrex had replied. We ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. We will not bow to upstart primitives. Rex's expression had not changed. You still do not understand, he said. This was never about ruling the galaxy. This was about teaching the galaxy a lesson. The lesson is over now. Class dismissed. The human attack that followed was swift and final. Within hours, the last center of alien resistance was gone. But what happened next surprised everyone. The humans could have enslaved us all, the soldier continued. They could have made us into their servants. They could have wiped out entire species that had opposed them. The screen showed something different. Human ships were bringing food and medicine to alien worlds that had been damaged in the war. Human engineers were helping rebuild destroyed cities. Human doctors were treating wounded alien soldiers. Instead, they did something we never expected. They kept their promise. They treated us with mercy. A creature with green scales and long tentacles spoke up from the crowd, but why? After everything we did to them? After we mocked them and attacked them? The old soldier smiled for the first time since he had begun his story. Because they remembered who they used to be. Before the war. Before we forced them to become soldiers. They remembered that they had once offered us friendship. The screen showed Jinha, now much older, standing in the ruins of an alien city. Around him, humans and aliens worked together to rebuild what the war had destroyed. Jinha became the first human ambassador to the surrendered worlds, the soldier explained. He spent the rest of his life helping alien species recover from the war. He said it was what he should have been doing from the beginning. Harin appeared next on the screen. She stood in a laboratory, but now she was surrounded by alien scientists as well as human ones. They were working together on new technology, not weapons, peaceful things. Harin opened the Human Science Institute, the soldier said. She invited scientists from every species to join her research. She said that knowledge should belong to everyone, not just the winners of wars. Quan was shown next. He was training young soldiers, but these soldiers were different. They came from many different worlds. Humans, aliens, and mixed species all learned together. Quan founded the Galactic Defense Academy, the soldier explained. He said that if there was going to be an army in the galaxy, it should protect everyone, not just one species. Jake Morrison appeared on screen, but he was no longer broadcasting messages of war. Instead, he stood before a great assembly where representatives of hundreds of species worked together to write new laws for the galaxy. Jake Morrison became the first speaker of the new Galactic Congress, the soldier said. He helped create a government where every species had a voice, even the ones that had fought against humanity. Lisa Park was shown last. She sat in a great library surrounded by the collected knowledge of 1,000 worlds. But she was not alone. Students of every species came to learn from her. Lisa Park became the keeper of galactic memory, the soldier said. She made sure that the story of the war would never be forgotten. She made sure that future generations would remember both the cost of pride and the value of mercy. The screen changed one final time. It showed Commander Rex and Sarah Chen, both very old now, standing together on the observation deck of a space station. Around them, ships from hundreds of different worlds traveled peacefully through space. And Rex and Sarah Chen? Asked a young creature in the audience. They retired, the soldier said simply. They said their job was done. They had taught the galaxy to respect humans. Now it was time for others to teach the galaxy to live in peace. The old soldier looked around the hall one more time. His story was almost finished. That is why we gather here every year, he said. That is why we tell this story to our children. Not because we want them to fear humans, but because we want them to understand the lesson. He pointed to the screen, which now showed children from dozens of different species playing together in a park on Earth. The lesson is simple, he said. When someone offers you friendship, do not mock them. When someone extends their hand in peace, do not slap it away, because you never know what they might become if you force them to be your enemy. The hall was silent for a long moment. Finally, a very young creature, barely old enough to understand speech, asked the question that everyone was thinking. Are the humans still dangerous? The old soldier thought for a moment before answering. Yes, he said. They are still the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Their technology is still the most advanced. Their soldiers are still the most skilled. Their minds are still the most clever. He paused and smiled. But they are only dangerous to those who threaten them. To those who choose to be their friends, they are the kindest, most generous species you will ever meet. The soldier began to fade as the memory-sharing ceremony reached its end. Remember this story, he said, his voice becoming softer and softer. Remember it when you meet other species for the first time. Remember it when someone different asks to be your friend. Remember it when you are tempted to judge others by their appearance or their size or their strength. His form became transparent, like smoke in the wind. Remember that the galaxy once made a terrible mistake. We judged humans by their gentleness and decided they were weak. We learned too late that there is a difference between choosing peace and being unable to make war. The last of his image disappeared, but his voice echoed through the hall one final time. The humans offered us friendship. We gave them war. They won the war, then gave us friendship anyway. That is who they really are. That is why the galaxy is at peace today. The great hall fell silent. The ceremony was over. But the lesson would live forever. In the darkness between the stars, when creatures of all species looked up at the night sky, they would remember the story. They would remember the blue planet called Earth. They would remember the species that had learned to be dangerous so they could choose to be kind. They would remember humanity. And in remembering, they would choose friendship over fear, peace over pride, and wisdom over war. Because sometimes the greatest teachers are those who show us the price of our own mistakes, written in fire across the stars themselves.